Today's podcast is brought to you by the Too Many Men Sports Podcast.
Tony, Trish, John, and Zach break down the hottest topics in sports, as well as bringing guests along to get their thoughts on the sports headlines.
From guests such as Utica Comets defenseman Colton Saucerman to controversial topics such as trading superstar James Harden, this show leaves nothing off limits.
Too Many Men. New episodes every Tuesday and Thursday on Google Podcast, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.
Let's get down to brass
business
tacks.
To defeat the Huns.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. And that's how you start a podcast.
5 minutes later.
We had some business to take care of at the top of the show.
Some technical issues.
But now we're rolling.
We're rolling the tape.
Can you imagine if we tracked this to tape?
We would spend a fortune in tape.
Tape's not cheap anymore.
Oh, man.
That's one thing I never really got to do as much as I would have liked to.
Like record to tape?
Yeah. It's really sick. But
yeah, it's like an art form.
Oh, yeah. Especially like the editing part of that. Like the splicing and...
That would suck.
Yeah. It's really crazy. It's amazing what they did.
Yeah.
Because now we have recording software. Pro Tools is what I use. And the things I can do in Pro Tools in 3 seconds would have taken 3 hours to do on tape.
Yeah.
And I think like recording engineers from back in the day would be like, this is the dumbest thing. This is ridiculous. You're not a real engineer.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
As is most of the technological advances in life.
Making life too easy.
Too easy.
You think?
You got to work for it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you feel about autonomous cars?
I actually don't like them. Like, and more so just because I enjoy driving.
I do too.
I don't know.
I love road trips.
Yeah.
I love driving on road trips.
And also I'm an old man in the sense that like I would rather not have technology do something that I'm capable of doing myself. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
I
was having this conversation with my dad last night about how if autonomous cars like take over the driving industry, I think the driving industry is like a third of the jobs in America, like for trucking and delivery and
well, that's what
things like that.
My wife works at a logistics company, and one of the things that they're planning for in the next, I think it was like 15 years, is I think that they're working on, I forget what they're called, but basically they're off of interstates, almost like a station. And so what they're planning on is the technology being, you can have basically like a convoy of like 3 trucks, say. The first lead truck has an actual driver in it. The next 2, there are Wi-Fi connected to the first truck. And there's no driver in the second 2, but they're following the first one.
Okay.
And however they can, I don't know if it's AI or what, like sense everything going on, but they follow them just on the interstate. And then these stations off the interstate, the driver would pull into, and then real drivers would come and meet the other 2 unmanned trucks and drive them to the destination.
Okay.
Off the interstate.
I gotcha.
And I'm not a big fan. I get like they're trying, because there's a massive truck driving shortage. So they're trying to figure out a way to keep that industry going. But I just don't like the idea of a semi with no driver in it.
Yeah. I think there's just too many variables. I know that technically it's safer, I think. Like the autonomous cars are, like they can predict accidents before they happen. Because they can like, with the way that they see, they have AI technology that says, okay, this just happened 9 times out of 10, results in a wreck. Like on down the road ahead of the car, they're like, okay, it just saw this happen. 9 times out of 10, that results in a wreck, starts to break. And then a wreck happens and you're already braking. And it does those calculations in milliseconds.
Yeah.
But I just don't know, like, especially with semis and like a train, like a convoy situation where you have two following. Like, have you been on the interstate recently? There's crazy drivers.
Yeah.
I was coming home from PA, and for probably like a good hour, I could not get away from this one white pickup truck that kept like cutting in. Like, it was like one of those situations where I would pass him, then he would pass me.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Yep.
But every time I passed him, and it was a 3-lane highway, every time I passed him, he would swerve over into my lane behind me and then swerve back into his. Like, what are you doing? And then he was just I think he was drunk or something.
Wow.
But how do you prepare and kind of defensive drive against that as a self-driven
and
semi?
Yeah, it's a good point. And then also too, like, obviously humans make error.
Right.
But how do you prepare? So like, say the software has a glitch. How do you prepare for that?
Right.
To where, like, this sounds really bad, but say a human is driving a semi.
Yeah.
And they have some sort of medical emergency where they're incapacitated. Eventually, by the driver of the semi, let's just say dying, the semi is going to stop, or at least slow down and hit something to stop.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
A software glitch, what's preventing it from just taking off, you know?
Oh, like just flooring it.
Yeah. And like, how do you prepare for that?
Right.
Because you can have like fail safes and whatnot, but to an extent, like, any software is prone to that. And I don't know.
I think a big thing that we're going to be seeing is, as soon as one thing goes wrong, there's going to be like a big uproar about it. Versus like if a semi were to, like, a driver falls asleep and hits like another car and kills somebody, maybe that's on like local news for a day. One of these automated semis hits somebody, that's on the news for a week.
Right.
And it's sparking a whole debate. That's what I see happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But one thing I'm thinking may happen, maybe not, it's kind of conspiracy-like, as I tend to think, but those things are super easy, I imagine,
To hack. I thought the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know if it would be super easy. I know I couldn't do it. But who's to say that?
Yeah, and I mean, our government has been hacked.
Yeah.
And if anything should be the most secure thing that we have,
Probably our government.
probably our government and our secrets. So like, and like Apple gets hacked, and they're also known as one of the top security.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. But what is going to happen to the workforce then? Like, if that takes over, what's going to happen to that? What are we going to do?
I have no idea.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
We're in a really weird time to be alive.
I think we've talked about it before, how like technology is good, but I think there's a boundary.
Yeah,
where
for sure.
We can't automate everything because then what happens?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how good AI is, and it might be leaps and bounds better than a human, but like creative problem solving, I don't know how far AI has advanced in that respect. There was a movie on Netflix that I only watched like the first 10 minutes of. It just wasn't that well produced, so I quit watching, but it was like 2038 Origin Unknown, I think is what it was called, but about a mission going to Mars, like a manned mission going to Mars, and AI, like an AI robot, or not robot, but AI, like in a spaceship in those movies.
Okay.
When you're like, hey, Charles, fly the ship, and it's like flying the ship to here.
Yeah.
It was that sort of situation where this AI was like mission control. And like right at the beginning of the movie, there was an issue. They were trying to land a rover on Mars, and something went wrong, like something wasn't deploying on its way down, and it was about to burn up. So there was one person in the room with this AI, and she was like doing crazy math and then figured something out and was like, you need to open up the rover and do this and this, and it'll pop open the heat shields. But it wasn't something the AI would have thought about.
Yeah.
And they ended up doing that, and it saved the rover from burning up. But that's what I wonder about AI is its ability to think outside the box like that.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a real hindrance for it, but I don't know where that's at right now.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know. We'll see. I guess check back in 30 years from now to see where the world's at.
AI podcasts.
Yeah.
Just listening to.
Have you seen like the deep fake stuff? I saw something on Twitter. It was Scarlett Johansson, and it was Scarlett Johansson speaking at a press conference, but she had Steve Buscemi's face. Basically, AI technology puts somebody else's face on a person, and it looks completely real, like 100% real. So it was Scarlett Johansson's body, her hair, her ears, but then Steve Buscemi's face.
That's creepy.
Yeah. And you're like, that looks like a weird, like, why is Steve Buscemi in a dress? Like, it's crazy how real it looks.
Man.
And through that on Twitter, there was a couple different articles about how that might be used against people, especially in this upcoming election.
Right.
So who knows? With really anything like audio, video anymore, you can't really use that as solid evidence because everything can be edited.
Yeah.
Like seamlessly pretty much anymore. Like we talk about what I can do in Pro Tools in 3 seconds. And there's stuff that's like leaps and bounds beyond what I can do.
Yeah.
I could make it sound like you said something horrible that you didn't say, but it sounds exactly like that.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to tell.
Right.
I have enough audio between the two of us. I could ruin both of us forever.
Oh, man.
It's nice to see you wearing the Billy Ray Cyrus shirt again, too.
Thanks, man. This is like my go-to Friday shirt.
Are you going to wear that? We're going to a Need to Breathe concert soon.
Oh, I should.
You should totally wear that to the Need to Breathe concert.
Oh, I'm going to. Especially since I don't have a Need to Breathe shirt, so.
I'll probably be wearing my Need to Breathe shirt, my Rivers in the Wasteland.
That's a great idea. Totally going to wear this.
Or should we wear our neon green shorts?
You know, I don't know where mine are.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
I know.
Have we told that story on the podcast?
I don't know. Was that this year at camp or was it?
No, it was the year before.
Year before.
Yeah. Year before. Do you want to tell that story on the podcast? I know we haven't told it on Back Row yet.
Was that just you and me?
Yeah. That was just you and I.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's tell it.
Awesome.
In our traditions.
So we go to a church camp every year. We're on the worship team. And Pudge and I have had this tradition for the past couple of years that every year before camp, we go to Walmart and get a matching shirt and matching swim trunks.
Yes.
And then we wear that.
The first year was that the bald eagle?
No, the first year was America.
Okay.
It was a shirt, just like a navy blue shirt that said America. And we cut off the sleeves, obviously.
That's
and then
right.
we had like blue swim trunks with like stars.
Okay.
It looked kind of like a flag, but without the stripes.
Yeah.
So that was year one. And then we also had bandanas, American flag.
That's
bandanas.
right. Yeah.
We went super patriotic for some reason. And then not last year, but the year before last year, we got neon green, like short swim trunks.
Yeah.
Like above the knee, maybe fingertip length.
Yeah. Very thin.
They were very thin.
I felt very exposed.
Me too.
Yeah.
But super comfy.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And then we got shirts that have, who is it? Not Abraham Lincoln, but the other guy. The dude with the white beard and the top hat. What's his name? I should know this. We should know this.
White beard and top hat.
Yeah. He's like the I Want You guy.
Oh.
What's his name?
Is it like Uncle something?
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle
Yeah,
Sam.
yeah.
Wow. Don't at us, okay?
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam is holding a bald eagle, like cradling a bald eagle in his arms. And the bald eagle is looking up and saying, "Tell me another story about freedom." So Pudge and I was living in my house in Dalton at the time.
Right.
And Pudge and I had just got back from Walmart, and we were so excited. So we tried on our shirts and our swim trunks, and we cut the sleeves off our shirts. And for some reason, we were both short neon green swim trunks, those shirts that have Uncle Sam cradling the bald eagle. And we had cut the sleeves off. And for some reason, we were playing George Michael, like blasting George Michael. Which the walls of my house are super thin.
Yeah.
So you could hear out of it very easily. And we're blasting George Michael. All of a sudden, there's a knock on the door. So I go to the door. And there's a lady standing there. She's like, "Hey, you look like a guy with some opinions. Would you be willing to answer a couple quick questions for me?" And I was like, and I am horrible at saying no to people like that, especially when they're right in front of me. On the phone, I can hang up on them.
Yeah.
When they're at my door. But this lady was like, "You look like a guy with some opinions. Would you be willing to answer a couple quick questions?"
And didn't she say she had like a just a small gift or something she wanted to give you?
Maybe.
Because there was a bottle of Febreze involved.
Was there?
Yeah.
That's right. She did give me a thing of Febreze.
Yeah.
Which I used. That was really great. I was like, "Yeah, sure." I just thought it would be like a quick little survey.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Awesome. Let me go get my stuff." I'm like, "Whoa, what?"
Meanwhile, while this is all taking place, so Donnie is standing at the door.
Yeah.
And if he's looking out the door, I'm immediately to his left in a chair. So she has no idea I'm there at this point.
Yeah. You were on my couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just sitting here listening to the whole thing. I'm like, oh no.
So then she goes, gets her stuff, and she comes in. She's a vacuum salesman. She's selling Kirby. Is it the Kirby?
It's Kirby.
Kirby vacuums. And she comes in with her stuff. Also, her boss, apparently, because she's being driven around by her boss, and her boss is like dropping her off from house to house and leaving and going on to the next house. So it's her walking through the door, her boss following. I pop a squat on the couch right next to Pudge. We're both in our shorts and our shirts. We had just been blasting George Michael.
She was like, "So you guys going swimming?"
I think we explained what was happening, but I don't think they believed it.
No, they did not.
What did the dude say? He's like, "You guys brothers or something? Or musicians?" Oh, he asked if we were musicians because I had like my guitars.
Oh, yeah.
And then preceding that was the most probably awkward 20 minutes of my life. And she tried to sell me a vacuum.
Just let her go, too. I was like,
I can't say no. And she was like giving us a sob story of how like she's never taken her daughter on vacation. And if she sells like a certain amount of vacuums, she gets to like a free vacation through the company. Yeah. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm just not interested. And she was like, all right. And she hurriedly packed up her stuff and then went out in my driveway. It was hot. It was a summer day.
Yeah.
And
like
she
July.
Like sat on her stuff in my driveway waiting for this dude to come back.
For like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was super awkward.
Yeah.
And we had to leave, actually.
Yeah, we did have to leave. I forget.
Because we were going swimming.
Were we?
Yeah, we were going to go to...
Oh, Conway's.
Yeah.
A friend of ours.
We actually were going
swimming. I forgot about that.
Me too. So we were late getting to Conway's because we didn't want to walk back outside.
Right. We were like peeking out our blinds looking for that. Is she gone yet? Is she gone?
So just sitting there on her vacuum.
On her vacuum box. Oh, my goodness. And the whole time it was happening, it was extremely awkward. But I was just so excited it was happening because I was like, what a story this is going to be. It was one of those things like in the moment, I knew this would be something that we would look back and laugh on for sure. I had one of those moments 2 days ago. Like one of those moments, not awkward, but just kind of like a sucky moment that you're like, you know what, I'm going to look back on this and it's going to be a good memory. A buddy of mine, I was in bed. It was like 10:30 at night. I was in bed and a buddy of mine texted me. He was like, hey, are you still up? I was like, yeah, what's going on? He said, my car broke down on my way to work. He worked second shift. So he had just gotten off. He was, my car broke down on the way into work. A buddy's taking me home right now. I'm going to get a trailer and bring it back. It's at this place. And he was like, can you come help me? Because it might need jumped or maybe pushed up on this trailer. And Tuesday, or whenever this happened, was it Tuesday? Tuesday or Wednesday this happened, when it was like -6 with like a -20 wind chill. Yeah. Like as cold as it was freezing here. The kind of cold that if you are outside for more than like 2 minutes, you could potentially get frostbite if you don't have gloves on or anything. The polar vortex. I'm sure everybody knows about it by now. I was trying to mansplain it, I guess. So I'm sorry for mansplaining coldness to everybody. I just wanted everybody to grasp how cold it was.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll be there as soon as I can. So I like bundled up. I had a sweatshirt, a coat, my dad's Carhartt overalls with pants on underneath, and then my boots and like big thick gloves and a hat. And out there, and I helped him get his car back up, but it sucked because it was so cold.
Oh, bad.
But it was like one of those moments where I'm like, we're going to look back on this, maybe not laugh about it because it's not that funny.
Yeah.
But I'm already looking back on it as a good memory because I really like the extreme cold for some reason and doing things in that. And it was nice because we didn't have to be out there for super long. It only took us maybe 20 minutes to get it jumped and then driven up on the trailer. Although I did, Noah, if you're listening to this, I'm really sorry. We had just jumped it and got it started, and I went to like slam his hood, and I thought it had one of the hydraulic things that was holding it open, but it was just one of those like metal poles that you stick up there. And I like bent the crap out of his hood. I bent that bar, and then I bent his hood a little bit. He had to like bend it back to get it shut. So, but his car's a junker.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I feel really bad about it. At least it shut.
Yeah.
It shut and it looked okay from my perspective, but he wasn't too stoked about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was nice to be able to do that and have that memory.
Yeah.
So, and that wasn't me trying to like pump myself up like, oh, I'm such a good person for helping my friend. But ever since I got out of high school, I've tried to like narrow my friend group down to who are those people that 3 o'clock in the morning, my car is broken down. Who can I call to help me? Those are your true friends.
Yeah.
In my opinion, those should be your closest circle friends. So it was nice to have, I've had that philosophy for a long time. It was nice to be able to actually do that myself and act that myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the polar vortex.
Polar vortex.
The cold.
I tried doing that water thing where you take hot water and throw it up in the air. It did not work.
Really?
Yeah. Do you have to boil it?
I think you have to boil it.
Okay. I just had super hot water.
Oh. Gotcha.
It didn't work.
I think you have to boil it.
Because, you know, Marco Polo, the app where you send videos back and forth. I had gotten a whole bunch of hot water, and I pulled up Emily, and I was Marco Poloing Emily. Like, look at how cold it is. And I just threw this water, and nothing happened.
What's funny is that's like a live thing, too. Like, you can't go back and delete it.
I can just delete it. It was just there. I threw it, nothing happened. I was like, well, it's cold. Just believe me. Because she's been complaining because it's been like 50 and 55 down there.
Rough.
And she's cold. I'm going to hear about that.
I was pretty stoked that it's going to be 50 here on Sunday.
Yeah, what the heck?
I have no idea.
It was -20 wind chill the middle of this week. It's going to be 50 this weekend.
Yeah. Shorts weather.
Yeah. Which, by the way, you're coming over to my house Saturday, right? A dude from our church he recently has started getting into vinyl, and he needs to build something to store all his vinyl records in, like something he wants to mount on his wall and that looks nice. And his name's Corey. He's actually a really good woodworker. Like he's been woodworking for like 10 years and had a mentor that taught him and stuff. He's shown me some pictures of some stuff he's done. He's really good. But I was thinking, well, he's doing that. You and I could do something else because I've been building cajones. And my neighbor recently just brought over this really cool thing. I forget what it's called. But basically what it is you pull the guts out of a microwave and you attach a hot and a cold lead to it or from it. And then you use a mixture of water and baking soda and you like brush that onto wood. And then you put these two leads down on opposite ends and it burns it like electricity.
Yeah.
Because it's something like 25,000 volts.
It'll go through the...
Yeah. And it like burns the wood and it looks like a tree. Like you see the electricity like branching out. It looks like lightning. And then when it's done, it kind of looks like a tree because it's got all these like electricity branches broken off that are burnt into the wood. So I want to do that on the side of my cajones.
That'd be sweet.
Because I think it'd look really cool.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. But it's really crazy. And it like...
We're going to electrocute ourselves.
If we do, we'll die. Yeah. We literally will die. It will like blow us back.
So this is the last podcast.
The last podcast we're going to do. Farewell to all.
No, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. So I figured we could do that. If there's anything that you've been working on that you want to bring and you want to burn some stuff into it, maybe bring that. But that should be a fun time. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Just guys being dudes.
Bros.
But women are also included if
you want.
If they wanted to come, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the shop.
The bro shop.
The bro shop, though. And there is a sign that says no girls allowed that I wrote when I was 8. So.
Oh, man.
Gracious. I have a little job update for myself. If you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you know that I've been out of work for, I think, like 4 months now, looking for stuff, looking for audio stuff. And nothing is set in stone yet, but I have, as of right now, 4 different audiobook companies that I might be freelancing for.
Nice.
Doing QC work, which is quality checking. So basically just listening to an audiobook, and if they mess up a word or omit a word, forget to say a word or say a word wrong, mispronounce a word, or if I catch any bad edit spots, I like write that down in a spreadsheet and send it back to them. And like 2 of them are QC, or 3 of them are QC, and 2 of them, one is QC and editing, then one is just editing audiobooks. Wow. So I don't know like what the hours would be on those, but if I get like 2 of them, that might fill up a 40-hour work week.
Right.
Which that would be great.
Yeah.
It'd be freelance, which sucks because
you got to do all your own taxes.
Got to do all my own taxes, got to get my own insurance and all that stuff. Yeah.
But hey, now apparently you're not going to get penalized if you don't have insurance.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently that was one of the things that Trump cut. I haven't looked into it. Now, last year in 2018, you can still get penalized for it, but
I didn't know you could get penalized.
Yeah, it was an Obama thing. If you don't have health insurance for like any period or whatever, then that's why people had to buy like from the healthcare marketplace. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Why don't we just go to free universal healthcare?
Oh boy, can of worms. Can of worms.
I'm opening it up. Opened up. Why don't we do that? It seems to be working for European countries pretty darn well.
Health insurance is too big of a business now. In my opinion, that's why.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to want to give up that.
What are your own personal opinions on that?
Excuse me. Sorry. I just coughed like right into the mic. I like most things, there's pros and cons. Like
longer waits for sure.
Longer waits. It's hard to get in, get what you need. When you do get in, it is free, which is nice. But there's also like so much wrong with our healthcare system. The fact that if I go in for whatever, I'm getting surgery on my finger, and if I'm self-pay, it's a different rate than if I'm using health insurance. It's cheaper. Really? Usually 9 times out of 10, it's cheaper if you are self-pay, because they can ding the health insurance companies, whatever, you know, and so there in itself is part of the problem, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah.
What about, like if one of us were to get life flighted somewhere, that's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
On us. And if like you don't have that high of a deductible, you're screwed. Almost dying in an accident could
bankrupt you.
Not dying could ruin your life more than dying would.
Yeah.
Because it could bankrupt you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's, yeah.
I don't know. I don't have enough opinions on this. I don't know enough facts.
Yeah. I just know, like, I know what I have. And, like, I have a super high deductible with an HSA. And so I try to just keep my HSA to the point where it would pay my deductible. So that way, theoretically, I would never have to go out of pocket in a year. Yeah. Now, if something happened, then the next year, obviously, whatever. But it's just so, like, so expensive as healthcare. And that's why there's actually a big rise in, like, Medi-Share programs. Oh, yeah. Where, you know, your premium per month is much lower. But, like, if you go to a doctor appointment or whatever, you usually have to cover it yourself and then get reimbursed. But one of my friends was telling me how his cousin and his wife are in the Medi-Share program. And his cousin had to go to the ER for something. And it was like $250 or something. And my friend was talking to his cousin. He's like, man, that's an expensive ER trip. He's like, yeah, but how much did you pay in just health premiums last month out of your paycheck? He was like, yeah, about $300. He was like, I paid $250 for a month, you know, like one time. Right. So I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So again, I don't know enough about it to.
It just right now, the way it's set up, I think whichever way you go, it's not, I don't know any other way to say it other than consumer friendly. It does not help the person, the individual, as much as I feel like it could be doing. Yeah. Should be doing. Yeah. But to me, my uneducated, uninformed opinion,
which the show is based on.
Right. It just seems like universal health care is the way to go. I don't know. I don't know.
Socialism.
Is that what that is?
No. But most people would connect the two. Oh. That, like, if you think that, then you're a socialist.
Oh, well, come at me, anybody that thinks I'm a socialist. I don't even know what I am.
You're fake news.
I guess, yeah.
Saying all the trigger words.
Fake news.
Fake news, bro.
I got to get off Twitter, man, because it's just too much negativity. Yeah. But I saw today, like right when I woke up, like that's like, I scroll Twitter when I wake up.
Which is terrible. It's just the same thing.
Negativity. That's a horrible thing to wake up to. But there was a girl, you guys, it's actually close to us, University of Akron. She was the machine gun girl that took her, or assault rifle, sorry. Or AR. I don't know. I've offended all the rednecks already. You can't not offend.
Yeah, in this day
anybody.
Age, yeah.
But she had an AR and she took her college photos like around the campus with her AR and it blew up and it was a whole thing. And I saw on Twitter today that she flew somewhere and she took a picture wearing a MAGA hat. And she was like, I wore my MAGA hat today to remind all the TSA agents that they're non-essential and their jobs don't matter.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. TSA can be annoying.
It's kind of a joke, actually, if you look into the, like, statistically.
But, like, the idea of them
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. You need something.
Yeah.
You can't just, okay, hop on the plane.
Right. Because then we're right back to pre-9/11.
Right. You need some sort of security team, system and team in place.
Yeah. And like I'm saying, it's not that I'm like pro TSA as it is now, but to just say your jobs don't matter.
Right. Right.
It's kind of essential in this day and age.
Yeah. But that sort of ignorance and like, why are you hating on people at all?
Right.
At all in life. Like, technically we're hating on this girl.
Yeah.
But she kind of deserved it. Those TSA agents did nothing to deserve that.
Trying to do their job.
Yeah. I think it kind of works somewhat like the police do, where just the presence of some sort of enforcement is enough to deter most people.
Yeah.
Like, cops just sitting on the sides of roads is extremely effective for reducing speeding. Like, if you know, like, this is where a cop sits most of the time, I better not speed here.
Yeah.
You're going to slow down.
Yeah.
Most people are going to slow down.
And that's what the state highway does in Ohio over like holiday weekends. They'll put dummy cars where nobody's in them. They'll just park them along the interstate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. And it works.
Oh,
like,
totally.
It's like, I do it. Even if I'm not speeding.
Oh, yeah. I still slow down.
Yeah. I still brake check myself.
Yep. I still like start to hyperventilate a little bit. And, like, looking in the rearview mirror, like, oh, no.
I did something terrible and I'm going to go to jail. There's drugs in my car.
I literally don't know what I'm going to do if I ever have to go to jail.
Yeah.
Like, if I have to go to prison for any length of time, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I might just flee the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched too many, like, prison shows. Like, have you watched, what's it called? 60 Days In?
Yeah.
That one.
That show was fantastic.
Yeah. But it also is like, I do not want to go there.
I know. Did you watch the first season?
Yeah.
That one idiot guy that came in like all cocky, like he owned the place. Like 60 Days In, I think it's still on.
I think it is.
I haven't watched it in a hot minute, and I apologize for using hot minute. But 60 Days In is a reality show where they take a handful of people and they put them in prison for 60 days. They give them like a fake background story, and they just go in and they are just in prison for 60 days. And I think only the what do they call him? Not the dean of prison, but the head warden, the head warden knows.
Yeah.
Like all the guards, all the prisoners, they have no idea that they're a plant.
Yeah.
In a reality show.
I don't even think because they go through like a judge too. I don't even think the judge knows because they have like court.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least in the first season they did. I don't know.
I missed like the very first episode of the first season.
Okay.
I saw the second episode where they were like the warden was briefing them on what to expect and like giving them like a quick rundown of like prison rules that like the inmates have, because there's like a whole rule system that the inmates have.
And what's crazy too is if the contestants, if you want to call them that, if they do anything in there, then they're going to get charged.
Yeah.
They're like, so just so you know, like if you get caught up in something,
that's on you.
Yeah.
And like one guy was going in because he wanted to be a DEA agent, and he thought this like insider knowledge might have helped him.
He was a former Marine, right?
Yeah, former Marine. So he was like jacked and big, and he actually did really, really well. Because his very first day, there is like a hierarchy amongst the inmates. So there was like the lead guy of his block, and the lead guy was cleaning tables, and this dude first day walks over to him and was like, "Hey, can I help?" And that dude was like, "Yeah, definitely." So, and that earned him some credit like right away, and he started kind of building up respect throughout the higher ups of the inmates. Another dude during the orientation, or not the orientation, but the rundown that the warden was giving him, he was like, this is going to be the easiest thing I've ever done. I'm not worried at all. And the warden's like, I'm telling you, if you don't stop with that cockiness, you're going to die. Somebody's going to kill you. And he goes in and he's like, literally walks in, like arms out, like all cocky, just strutting. And you see like inmates like looking at him like, who does this dude think he is? He walks like a cop. Mm-hmm. And as soon as one of them said that, I was like, this dude's done.
Yep.
He's done.
Yep. He was the one who ended up getting himself sent to solitary.
Yeah.
Because he put a towel over the camera.
Yeah.
And it was like obvious that this dude was scared, even though he didn't, he was like, didn't admit it. I don't remember why he said he did what he did. But,
yeah.
Basically the whole time they're like, he's scared, he wants out.
Right.
But he wouldn't admit it.
Yeah.
And then like made himself sick in solitary. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that way he could go to the
infirmary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he get off the show then? Because
they ended up getting him out.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he put himself in solitary, that's the last episode that I saw.
Oh, okay.
Of him.
Yeah, he didn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think that he would.
What's crazy to me is like why I love like those styles of shows. Mm-hmm. There was another show a few years ago. I forget what the name of it was, but basically it was kind of the same concept but different, where they got contestants, if you will, mm-hmm. and they had like an area of like, it was like 6 city blocks that had been abandoned.
Oh yeah, I remember the show. Yeah,
and they were trying to simulate a post-apocalyptic
government
place.
Failed.
Yeah.
All the system has failed.
Yeah, and like to the point where
anarchy.
The show would send in like raiders, if you will.
Yeah,
and like
people with like pepper spray.
Like they would get in fights,
yeah.
like real fights. And what I think is amazing about those shows is watching the psychology of it, mm-hmm. because in that what I wish I could remember the name of that other show, but one of the things that the people on the show were saying was like, it's amazing how, when you're first preparing, mm-hmm. you're like, oh yeah, this is a work, like, it's not real.
Right.
And then 3 days in, 7 days in, suddenly this is reality. Mm-hmm. And like, you can watch them like that start to flip, mm-hmm. where they can't, in their minds, this is the real world.
Yeah.
To where they are getting in fights with the people that they're sending in, over their food, and like with each other, and like because they're trying in their mind to survive, because if they don't, they're gonna die. Mm-hmm. And like it's the same thing with 60 Days In, to the extent where like obviously outside of prison, there's real world happening, mm-hmm. Reality, and like the concepts that happen in prison, where like you have a leader of the block. Mm-hmm. Like from the outside looking in, it's dumb, right? Stupid, yeah. But once you get in there, that becomes your reality, and like you conform to that, mm-hmm. and so I love watching those shows for that. There's been 2 movies made about this, the Stanford Prison Experiment. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever heard about that. No. So this was an actual thing that a college professor did as like a research experiment in the 70s. So he put out an ad saying, I need like 30 people, 30 students to come in for an experiment. It's going to last a week or 2 weeks, something like that, during summer break. And 30 people applied, and he split them off in half. 15 were guards, 15 were prisoners. And they like turned like one of the hallways in the school into like a prison. So you had like a warden's chambers and then cells. And it is crazy how quickly the wardens became mad with power and started making the prisoners do like crazy things just because they could. Like they stripped them of their clothes and like humiliated them. And the prisoners became or had that prisoner mentality of like, I need to get out of here, and like the hatred that happened between those two factions. And the experiment had to be shut down after, I think, 3 days because it just deteriorated so quickly. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then like all the post-interview stuff, You're like, the people were like, I had no idea that I would act that way. I had no idea. And then people saying like, if I was on the opposite side, if I was a guard, I wouldn't have done that. Or if I was a prisoner, I wouldn't have let them do that to me.
Yeah.
But who knows? Unless you're in that situation.
You really have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just how quickly humanity can deteriorate if our situation changes.
Yeah.
Like I think about what would happen if society collapsed and it was just basically anarchy, like that TV show. Like I like to think like I would do probably pretty well for myself, but what kind of person am I going to become in that situation?
Yeah.
What am I going to be willing to do to survive? And what will I have to do to survive? What will I be willing to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I won't know unless I'm in that situation, because I'd like to say, oh, if I was a guard in the Stanford prison experiment, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have beat the fake prisoners. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I want to say no because I believe at my core I'm a good person, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Makes you think about people. Because I think everybody has some sort of mask that they put on.
Yeah.
Moral of that story, don't trust anybody.
When I was watching that show, the
60 Days In?
the other one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember if it was the first or second. I think there was only 2 seasons, but one of the dudes, I think the way to end, like the experiment would end, was I think they had like a truck and they had to somehow drive the truck out of the city blocks. But they like the truck was in shambles. There's no fuel, parts were missing, stuff like that. They had to like rebuild it. So they had to search this huge city block or, multiple city blocks for different parts and whatnot. And also when they went out, like people would get like kidnapped from these plants of like raiders and stuff. But so like they had to also deal with that.
Yeah.
But they found a truck that had like pigs that were going to slaughter.
Yes.
Do you remember this?
Yes. I was going to mention this.
Yeah. And the dude, because like obviously they strategically picked the people who are on the show with different backgrounds. And this dude was ridiculously smart, and they were able to make fuel from, was it the pig's fat?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But like it was a process of like a week or two that they had to do this.
Also removing the pigs from the truck, because the truck had been sitting in the hot sun for like a week or so. So all the pigs were rotting.
Yeah.
And I remember like people, like they had to get the pigs out. So there were people in the truck like throwing the pigs out and then coming out and throwing up because the smell was just so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it made me, I was like, I need to know how to do that.
This is useful knowledge.
That's right.
This is the kind of stuff they should be teaching in schools. Today we're going to be learning how to make gas out of pig fat.
Yeah.
Who figured out that you can make glue out of horses?
I don't know. Is that like an actuality thing or just?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like early glue was made out of horse. I don't know. I'm sure that it's not made out of horses anymore. But early glue, like when the glue was first invented, it was
hose. Is that right?
I don't know.
Oh.
I thought it was their fat.
Oh man, been that.
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
But horses. Who looked at a horse and thought, I need to stick these two things together.
Right.
All I have is a horse. How can I figure out this problem?
Yeah. I think about that a lot with like just different things we do or eat or combine to make something to eat.
Yeah. I think about like the food that we eat a lot. Like who in the world thought to eat this?
And like the trial and error that must have taken place. Like, oh, this is bad. He died.
He died.
Don't eat that.
Don't eat those. But like, for example, mushrooms. Half of the mushrooms can kill you. Half of them are okay. So obviously, like a mushroom's a mushroom, even if it looks different from all the other ones, you still know, like, okay, that's in like a tree. Like that looks like a tree, even though like a pine tree is a tree, as an oak tree is a tree. Same thing with mushrooms. So who ate one mushroom, died, and then his buddies were like, well, that one killed him, but what about this one? That is also a mushroom.
Right.
50-50 chance.
A slightly different shape.
Yeah. Or I think the smart thing would be like to feed it to an animal.
True.
Have an animal eat it. But will the animal eat it? Because animals are smarter than us when it comes to food.
Yeah.
They won't eat it if it's bad for them.
That's true. And then
they just know instinctually.
Then some things animals eat that would wreck us. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
The only way to do it is just to do it.
Appreciate the sacrifice, ancestors.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Now I know what mushrooms to eat.
Yeah. So, but what if society crumbles? I know like 2 mushrooms that I shouldn't eat. I know morels you can't eat, because I used to go mushroom hunting all the time, find morels, and they're really good. You can grill them up. But also, what the heck? We didn't even talk about this. Like blowfish.
Yeah.
Blowfish, if it's not cooked exactly right, it'll kill you, but it's edible if you cook it a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
Who figured that out?
No.
Yes.
No. Oh. And also, who looked at a blowfish and thought, I'm going to eat that?
I'm going to eat that thing. Have you ever seen a blowfish like blown up on land and then release? Mm-hmm. It spits out a whole bunch of water.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy?
I never thought about that.
I thought it was just air,
right?
Which makes no sense.
Right. So if you didn't know, when blowfishes puff up, it's water.
Just sucking in water.
Yeah. They're not like balloons.
Yeah.
The balloons of the sea.
Gills freak me out.
Do they?
Although I wish I had them.
I did too. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
I love swimming.
Me too.
Just swim around.
Yeah. Like, have you ever seen, what is that?
Waterworld.
Waterworld.
Yes. Kevin Costner.
That was like one of those movies that used to always be on Saturdays on like a random TV station.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I really actually do enjoy that movie because it's just bad, but also kind of good.
Yeah.
You know, Jack Black's in that movie?
Is he?
That was one of his first roles ever, was Waterworld. He was the airplane pilot that like kamikazed into the ship.
Okay.
That was Jack Black.
Huh. Did not realize that.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, a kid down the street, one of my friends that I would hang out with all the time, we would mow yards together and then also like shovel snow together. So like we would have some money or whatever. And so we always loved whenever we got snow during the week because we would keep our money, and then on Saturdays we would order pizza for ourselves from La Rosa's.
Nice.
And so we'd order pizza and we would watch whatever the Saturday afternoon movie was on Fox.
Okay. Yeah.
And usually it was TV, it was movies like that, like
Waterworld, Independence Day.
Yep.
All those good movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
So fond memories.
Nice. That's not a bad way to spend an afternoon eating pizza, watching Waterworld.
Great way to spend your money. It's literally all the money that we made would go to pizza.
Pizza.
I mean, it was only like $20, but
yeah. Where are we at time-wise?
We are at an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
Yep. Get these people home.
Yeah.
Well, that's been our podcast.
It was that.
It was that. Take it for what it is. Yep. Take it or leave it.
Not a radio show.
No.
Podcast.
Guys, listen, we're not that great at this. If you want to listen to some good podcasts, there are thousands of good podcasts out there, much better than us.
Yes.
But if you are listening, gosh dang it, do we appreciate it.
We thank you.
Yeah. And what we wish that you would do, the thing that would just make our days, make our year, is donate to a little thing that we got going on here. It doesn't give us money.
No.
What it is, we are trying to raise just a measly $500 for Compassion International.
That's it.
It's a Christian charity. They help out widows, they help out orphans, and they have a couple different little missions that they do. I shouldn't say little, but they have a couple
They're
different...
a little company. They're doing okay.
Right. Their main focus is widows and orphans, and then they also have some other things that they do as well, such as digging wells for like villages that have to hike for a mile to get clean water. They'll dig a well for them right in the middle of town. Makes their lives much more easy and bearable. But we love that charity. We love Compassion. So we're trying to raise $500 for them. If we do, Pudge and I will run in a 5K. After the money is raised, we will find a 5K. We will run in it. You'll get a video of that. You'll get maybe some training videos of us preparing for it. Probably wearing spandex and doing... Actually, my girlfriend, Emily, gave me a vinyl that she found at Goodwill that is dancer size. And
Okay.
popular classic songs of the 80s.
Yes.
And it's just the most horrible instrumental track of that song, like re-recorded. And then a lady saying like, high knees, high knees, high knees, and to the side, and to the side, and yeah. And it's horrible, but so great. But I think that we should train.
That's our training.
Train to dancer size.
Yes.
And we'll send you a video of that.
Yes.
You can find that at GoFundMe at You're My Friend and I Trust You 5K for Compassion, or just look in the link, the description of this podcast, and you'll find the link for it. You can donate to it right there.
And you can find us at My Friend Podcast on Twitter.
Yes. Or email us if you have any questions, if you have anything you want us to talk about. We have a couple emails that we haven't got to yet about a couple different topics, but Carol, we promise we will get to that. And you can find us at itrustyoupodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Back Row Radio on the Back Row Radio app.
And wherever podcasts
Are found?
Such
as iTunes.
Such as iTunes.
iTunes is included in that.
Podbean,
The podcast app.
Spotify, YouTube, Google.
Trying to say the same thing.
But that's where you can find us.
Wherever you get your podcast.
Subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe, leave a comment. That helps us out. Give money to widows and orphans, or else you're a bad person.
Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.